So this question is a diagram question. Any question that provides some visual input, I'm going to call a diagram question. We see our two lines here, L and M. We see another line crossing those lines, line K. We see some angles, W, X, Y, and Z. The question says, in the figure, lines L and M each intersect lines K. We see that, right? They intersect. Line M intersects there. Line L intersects line K there. Which of the following is sufficient to prove that lines L and M are parallel? Okay, so in order to know that two lines are parallel, we have to know we'll have to know a few things. One is if they have equal slopes. There's no way for us to know the slope here. This is not on a graph, so that's not going to be a part of what we're focusing on. The other way with regard to angles is if we have certain angle relationships at the point of intersection with the transversal. In this case, K is our transversal, right? It transverses both lines L and M, and we have angle relationships like corresponding angles, if that sounds familiar. Alternate interior angles. Same side interior angles as well are the top three that I like to use. And those relationships, if they are true, so these are our relationships when you have parallel lines and a transversal. Corresponding angles are equal to each other, so they're congruent. Alternate interior angles are also congruent, and same side interior angles are supplementary. So let's use this question for a little bit of review. So W and Z would be considered corresponding angles. If those are equal to each other, then we would know that L and M are parallel. Y, I use a different color. Y and Z are alternate interior angles. If those two angles were equal to each other, we would also know that lines L and M are parallel. That's really all we have here to go off of to be able to tell that lines L and M are parallel. So let's see the answer choices. So the first choice says W equals Y. W equaling Y is actually true. Those are vertical angles, but it tells us nothing about whether line L and M are parallel, so A is gone. W equals Z, well, yes, so I pointed that out before. Those are corresponding angles. Notice that they are both made in the same way, is kind of how I like to describe it, meaning that they both are made by this transversal and a horizontal line. So if those two angles were equal to each other, then that would prove that line L and M are parallel, so I'm 100% certain that's the correct answer. X equaling Y, that doesn't involve line M at all, so no, that doesn't prove that lines L and M are parallel. And X equals Z, X and Z does involve both lines L and M, but they're not made in the same way, right? It's not true. X does not equal Z. It's not one of these options that we have down here. So X equals Z is not an option, so choice B must be the correct answer here.